Okay, just give it a second for YouTube. Good morning, everyone. It is, by my reckoning, day something 27 of our handmade game dev adventure here, and we're at the point, where we're actually doing game dev as opposed to just fucking around in the engine. So, very exciting stuff, very fun. Let's just get right back into it. Um, we're still trying to hit big demo day for Friday. Big meaning, like not really, but I will treat it as such. This is what we have right now. We have player. We've got starting planet. We've got goal. And I think what I would like to do is so the whole the goal for this demo is to ship level 1, where we kind of uh, let people really see the idea of this game, of like what we're I'm talking about here, of why it's interesting to do this, what you have to like actually do to use the gravity system in the quote unquote right way, that I want the player to be doing. Um, and yeah, um, but I think this is not, we've been finding problems with this layout. Number one, it's just not very interesting. Oh, did the game crash? Oh, it didn't. Oh, weird. I don't know why there's sometimes the circle spinning. It's some Windows thing. I don't have to figure it out right now. But I came up with a design. I was watching like this video about how to make fair puzzles. Let me see if I can show that. So I think instead of just one, like right now it's like one hop from planet to the goal, right? It's the X here. Um, I think what makes more sense. I'm flipping you off, by the way. I think what makes more sense to be able to teach this mechanic is to have one like moon in orbit you can get to pretty easily just going up. The second one is like a little too far, and you'll have to like maybe it's on the other side of the orbit, right? And then the warp gate, the goal is out in the distance, right? I think that's a more concrete design for this like this teaching level, and I think actually teaching level is probably like seems hard to me, because I have to assume that the player has no intuition or understanding of what's going on, whereas I do, right? So this is probably like the biggest delta in designer versus player understanding, that we're going to see. Well, I guess until I actually ship the game, in which case it will be when I ship the game. Ha ha ha. All right. But yeah, so we can go with that. There are a couple of problems, right? And so let's try to do this. I think level 2 is not gonna happen. All right, we're gonna do add more hops to L1. Um, we need to solve the infinite energy problem, and that problem is this of right now when you thrust, you are every time you thrust you're adding energy into the system, um, which is one closed off way that we could be using to constrain a like a level design. And I'm a little worried that it's a thing of it as like your total energy you could have is the total energy you start off with is like you have potential energy from being a certain distance away from center gravity, uh, or the center mass of like the planet in this level. I need it's more. So so like when you see when we start, this is how much energy we start off with, and this is a very constrainable value, right? And as you drop all of that, that's like your maximum potential energy if the system is totally bounded. As you drop its kinetic energy, right? but then you smack into the planet and then it's all gone. There's in there, there was not conservation of energy theoretically, right? Like it goes into the planet. But the planet is so massive, and it's like actually just static in the simulation where that doesn't matter. Where it's going to ignore it. So that is like one thing where or maybe there is room for something more interesting. Um, but the other problem, right, is, and this is what we're trying to tune here, is I will just keep thrusting because I have this regenerative boost. And you see now my maximum distance away from the planet, it just grows and grows every time I thrust, right? Because I like this bar here is energy, is additional potential energy that I'm able to keep adding to the system. And so my maximum distance becomes further and further away. And the problem with that is, I think the game kind of, in the constrained puzzle version of it, ceases to work. Um, I think it ceases to work if I can just like go off and escape from any planet just like that. Um, like if I can like launch myself off into the distance, into the void, just like super easily, like as long as I'm out of orbit, I can do that. Uh, then I can go infinitely far away. I can break like every single puzzle. So the things that I have been thinking of as a way to mitigate that. Let me just go get my tea, and then I'll share that with you. Share this idea. All right, had to grab the whole tea set here. We got some pu'er tea. So we're gonna make it a pu'er tea right now. Okay. But so I had a couple of ideas, right? So the whole reason I added this the re, regenerative boost was, like an earlier version of the game, the boost energy was very fine, like very fit, like it was very limited. Um and and what that did, right, is basically it created this linear, or this condition where like if you ran out of boost, like you just lost, right? And that's super lame. It's not very interesting. Um that if you just do it, because like your part, the idea was, we are trying to, the whole point is to incentivize you to predict these, or to learn and infer these more optimal paths when taking into account the effect of gravity. Um, um, in this 2D space, uh, and in order to force you to predict, to do this more efficient path, there must be some sort of thing disincentivizing you from just doing the stupid way, right? And so the limited fuel economy was the idea, but like this sucks. Once I get into this lose state, how do I get out? I just have to blow away the level. Um, and it's just kind of lame. I wasn't a huge fan of the way that worked. Uh, and so that's why I like shortened the boost time. I cut the energy that you could possibly do by a lot. Um, and you can see, right, it's like very short. We're talking about like, I think right now it's maybe just over half a second that you can boost for, right? It's not that long. Um, because like the whole point is to be doing it in these little bursts anyway, right? So as you regenerate, um, when you boost, like it's to course correct you, it's to make sure that you're going in the direction that you want to be. It's to be and aligning yourself up with the like the vector of uh however gravity's pulling you, that momentum, or to go hit uh little precision target. um that's the purpose of it, right? Is that's the and but like I think it could like I my the idea, um an idea I had before was you know it's like, we'll just say it's like solar powered, right? Of you need some kind of uh there's like some constraint on it regenerating, and we'll set so like if you're close to the like a sun, so sun would so this is like a planet. Sun would be a object in the space that you cannot um that if you land on it, you'll die, right? It'll just like crush you, burn you to death, right? So you don't want that. Um, but like you can like maybe harness the solar power from it, and that solar power converts right into like your regeneration rate, and maybe you can like start super boosting around the sun, and like you could do something cool like that. Um, but maybe there needs to be a constraint on doing it with like a planet as well, right? Of like I can only recover boost when I'm touching like the surface of a planet, and when I do so, that's how I would constrain um the system here, right? Is that my my total energy I have is actually, well, then, and I that makes it will be the potential energy from my starting position plus this bar, right? That is the total uh that's like the total energy that the ship could possibly have, because like once the bar runs out, then I can't I can boost no more until I touch the planet. um and then in which case my total energy, uh I lose that initial potential energy from the starting position forever. Um, but like that would be a way to do it. That would be um, and I think this is an important decision. And like today, I think we're doing very little code, because like these decisions are what lock in all of the design, right? Of like these are all of the constraints that we will be forced to work with creating these levels. Um, Everything else is like technical implementation stuff that is just like, ass and chair manpower. But this is like, we have to make a call here, because this is going to lock in what we can uh like what types of things are available to us, and what types of things are not. And so this is very important. I'm when I'm willing to spend a couple of days just focused on this. so if that is what we do, um and like, it'd be nice if there's like a fiction reason for that, but oh well. If that is what we're doing, if we're saying you only ever regenerate when you're touching the solid ground, or theoretically you're in range. Oh. My Yeah, not got a fun commute message today. Um, like so if we do this, we can like it will be the hardest constraint possible on on a level. we actually know exactly how much energy there is in the system at any given time. Which I think is actually very good for me. Uh, like it sounds very good um, to have that constraint, because then I can know with like exact precision how far away um, the player can possibly be from, say, the starting area, right? From the starting planet. Um, the and then all the distances in the levels are designable around that, and like we can understand that pretty easily as just like a conservation of energy problem, right? um I think maybe the issue, and this doesn't, it doesn't have to be, is like, okay, but then that constraint is applied to um every single level uh has to have a solid surface in it for which I can regenerate off of. Um, or a sun, right? There must be something. Otherwise, like, you can just lose. And that's okay if there's still a you just lose state. It just, we just have to think about it. Um, and because as of right now, like, this is a problem, and I think it's an unsolvable problem, just because I've broken thermodynamics here, right? And once you break thermodynamics, there's like, you can't really come back from that. um, yeah. Is that is that like just the only solution here, basically? Is to um is to gate the recharge by being on on solid ground. All right, we can implement it very quickly. Uh, so we can try this out. I know I'm like talking myself into it, but okay. So um, else 450. So we want to change that to 0, right? So if you're not thrusting, then up here it's 0, and then this is gonna be really bad because it's like order dependent. But oh well. Um, all right, if we're colliding, um, yeah, the very first thing we do if we're colliding is we set the n1 dot energy dot rate equals 100, right? And I think that is it. I think that is, I think, I think that's pretty much it, right? Should just work. All right, so yeah, that's kind of the problem, is like if you get into a uh into this state, and that's kind of like what I was thinking, is like if you get in like a stuck state, um now I have no way of boosting again. um I'm just kind of like frozen there. All right, let me get some more tea. I like my new setup a lot because the distance from tea to desk is greatly shortened. Okay, so yeah, and this is like a degenerate condition, right? If like, because and it is the case right now that, like, okay, I could, if I increased like my total fuel let's see. So let's say I bump this up to like 500. Okay, that was like a little ridiculous. So yeah, I can get off the ground. Why is that so crazy? Right. Oh, this is like ridiculous. Yeah, that's absurd. Something is totally fucked up here. Alright, we'll just set it to that. I think it's like the end of my thrust curve is wrong. We'll just do like 120. Because it just needs to be enough to like get us off the ground here, right? This would be so much easier if like I had implemented some stuff a little bit better and I could just tweak all of these parameters in game here. Um, but oh well. That's for after demo, right? Yeah, look, so right now I have like enough fuel, but I didn't have enough really to do anything. I mean, what it I'm trying to like get a feel for it. Like even if I tweak this right, like yeah, I think the problem becomes like then I have to make gravity so powerful on all of these planets so that I can on all of these objects so that oh, uh so that like I will get pulled out of orbit onto the planet, right? You see what I'm saying? Uh, in like a reasonable amount of time, because like, because at some point, you know, like this, uh, like there's like either this orbit is a decaying orbit, right? Or it's not. Um, or there's three things. Like it could be stable. Like this could be exactly perfect, in which case like it will stay here forever. That's bad. We don't want that. It's a decaying orbit where eventually this will hit the planet, right? And then you can boost again, and then you're okay, right? Which is uh, what we would want out of this set of rules. Um, or it's like a the orbit where like it's too far away, but you're still like orbiting, but you're basically just stuck forever because you're just slowly drifting away. Your distance is too great from the mass that the force of gravity is less than your current momentum, and so you just you keep drifting further and further away. That's like the moon in real life is like that has that kind of orbit. Um, because again, like achieving this perfect stable orbit is by far, I think, the hardest thing to do because you have to be exact, right? You have to be exactly lined up because if you're any bit over under, um, your orbit is not going to be stable. Uh, and that sounds like the type of thing in floating point game world. That's never going to happen, right? It's gonna be like the most horrendous thing ever to to try to guarantee, you know. And but um to like force you to like always be, oh, I'm like locked out because it's game over state. Um, yeah, to force you to do anything. Yeah, it's I don't think this works. Uh, I don't think it quite works. Sorry if I'm talking really fast. I had a new type of matcha come in. Um, I think I'm a little hyped up here. Little hyped up. Okay, so clearly this was wrong. Um, it's good we tried that. I mean, like it still could be that conceivably that yeah, here's some other options. We keep this type of mechanic where you boost more if you're on the ground, if you're touching a planet. But there's still some minimum boost, or sorry, you recharge when you're touching. But there's still some minimum recharge that you get just like floating around. I fear that will lead to exactly the same type of very unfun situations, though, right? Where you're just going to get stuck for a while, right, waiting for your meter to come back up, and then you get like one shot to correct yourself, and then you're just fucked, and then you have to wait again. That sounds super lame, and it's basically just it's just like the worst parts of this rule set and the other rule set with extra waiting in between, right? It does not sound to me to like very good. Um, what we could do instead, another thing to try. Oh yeah, see, look, we finally decayed into the planet. Uh, and that took what? That took like 3 minutes. Yeah, that's not acceptable. That is totally not acceptable. Um, that's funny though. Finally, it did happen. Um, yeah, not even. We're not even gonna entertain that. Um, yeah, the other option is like the levels need to be more complicated, right? So um, the boost. Let's say every level has like a sun in it, or some kind of um, magic object which controls the boost. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a solid mass object. It just we just have it in the scene somewhere. And that is the thing. Distance away from that is what determines your boost, right? That's possible. Um, or your boost recharge. But again, as always, like anything that totally gates recharge will lead to these very unfun scenarios where you're just waiting for 3 minutes for anything to happen. Um, but it's like theoretically like that could work and solve the thermodynamic constraint of the thing, right? Another option in terms of like level design. Ooh, interesting. There was like a little movement there. Um, wonder why that happened. Um, is that like visibly jittering? It is actually. So this thing still has momentum, possibly, or it's just the normal force and restitution. It doesn't matter. It doesn't seem big enough to really care about. Um, okay. So the other constraint we could impose, and again, this is all to like gate the uh to gate you from just going infinite, having infinite energy and just going off into nowhere. Um, which like actually like we two things. So we could just impose a like a finite kill box around the level. Um, of it's like asteroid belt or there's some black holes, whatever the fuck it is. And then this solar system here becomes like the only spot that you can actually go to, right? Does that make sense? So if you do break the, uh, if you do have too much energy, you pass away too far, then um, then we just kill you, and that's just like that's just a constraint of the level. Uh, which is I don't hate that solution. It can sort of be made to make sense in the fiction, right? If there are a number of ways, like, oh no, your nav lock in on the work gate has been lost because you're too far away. Signal lost. Oh no, you died because you got crushed by a asteroid field. Oh no, you got sucked into a black hole, right? Like that seems like uh that does seem reasonable as a it's more fun to watch this, we all know. That seems like a reasonable constraint that is like pretty believable. And what that lets us do is constrain like the screen size, right? Because as of right now, space has all these problems when you actually start like designing it in like a game of um like either it's like it's too big and it's too empty, or it's too open, and then you have to put tons of shit. It's like the worst open world problem ever. um because it is like if it's realistic at all, um then it's just going to be the most boring effing thing to traverse, because there's nothing going on. Okay, but so that could be constraint, is blocking off the total playable zone with just a kill box, right? uh and that's something I'm willing to just to work with. The kill box can be pretty small too, right? It doesn't like have to be this entire window size. Like it could just be like this. um that could be the kill box. And that does solve a couple of problems of doing it that way, as opposed to the on planet regenerate, like because this like it just gets you stuck in unfun situations too much. Whereas I think the box maybe does not, or maybe like adds some more like nuance of like maybe like your thing is your ship is going so fast that you're hitting you're headed straight for the asteroid belt, and you're like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Like my my setup to like slingshot myself off into the distance is too good, and maybe I need to do like another orbit or something to be able to do it from like the other direction to to shoot me towards the goal, right? That's all possible. That's all seems fine, right? Yeah, I actually I think there's some upside to that solution. Um, so it's one that is very much worth doing. Um, and it's funny actually because like in the other in the old version of the game, like that was the that was the win condition, was just getting to like, so this radius away from the start is the win condition, right? Um, but now it's the lose condition. It just it's very amusing. But it shows you like I think that watching all of these Jonathan Blow videos has actually helped get a better intuition for the design stuff. I would hope. I would hope. But yeah, see, like that, there you win. But I think that's when you should lose. I think that's when you should be losing now. Okay. Uh, anyway. Um, we've got like 10 minutes here before I've got to go head off to work. It's another tea, really quick. Just want to make nice use of these leaves before I chuck them. Okay. Um, I had another option too. I had another idea. Um, oh, the other idea is much more extreme. Um, and that one is part of actually the initial like image in my head that really inspired me to want to like try this game out, and as opposed to any of the other like little shitty prototypes I've worked on. um, was this like vision of you are traveling throughout the cosmos, finding, exploring things, right? Going, you know, finding all of these like little interesting like gravity situations. Okay, I just thought of something that I need to write down. But my problem with that, and just making it into open world game, where there are all these little puzzles that you can kind of stumble into. And again, this is back to the space is fucking boring. How do I make it interesting? Um, and like conceivably, it could be like you could fill it up with enough stuff. Um, and like because oh fuck, we were leveraging very hard on this feeling from Aether, the basement collection game. Um, that's not really working, is it? Um, where is it? Oh, I have all this crap sorted in this very asinine way. Um, like if we find the page here, where is it? Not that one. Yeah, this is the game, and you kind of like go around to all of um these different planets, and you're kind of just like the music is swooshing by, right? You see the stars fade away, and you're doing this like cool momentum stuff, but it's like a grappling hook. Um, and I love that feel. I love like this game back in the day. It was by far my favorite one in this collection here. Um, uh, but I think yeah, like the problem is like so we've got like two it's like a totally conflicting idea, and one of these ideas, the scope is a lot more ridiculous than the other of open worlds as a 2D space exploration. uh, is just like so much harder of a freaking problem to solve for me than making a series of levels, right? And of levels that are all self-contained, that are all like as efficient as possible in terms of conveying like a cool idea or situation that arises from this set of mechanics that like I don't know like I kind of like because that would be it, like of fuck it, I don't want to play this level, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna fly past it. uh but then like how do you transition from one state to the other? Because like you could like if you're just like rocketing all around, theoretically you could just be breaking puzzles, just like coming in with super crazy momentum and just like slamming yourself into the goal every time. um yeah, and it's just like it's just a much harder problem to solve. And uh I don't think that it's something that I'm like equipped to do, and I don't think it's something I really want to do. It just does not sound as interesting. So I guess that's that then. We will try the kill box thing. Um, so let's put everything back the way we found it. So yeah, because I think the kill box thing just has to be the solution. That's like the only way. Um, if this is a puzzle game, and I think I'm locking it in, it's a puzzle game, right? That's how it has to be done. It has to be constrained, otherwise it's not a puzzle. Um, and it is something that's like it's stimulating ideas. Of like I can come up with a number of ways in which it is more interesting to do this, um, and that it won't just like immediately break. Uh, but again, yeah, I think that is the. I think that's it. I think that's what we have to try. And unfortunately, it's like I've only got really one more morning. You know, maybe tonight I'm gonna work on this. We'll see. Cause like it's an idea that's not very hard to try out. It's actually we could just do it right now. We could do it so fast, so fast. Just watch this. You lose. Uh, okay. So we do like if n dot pause. I'm gonna do it from the goal, right? Is greater than I don't know. Greater than like 1,000. Okay, so that's that on that. And then lose also locks this out, I'm pretty sure. Um, I don't remember where this this kind of check happens. This is not the most best part of, oh it's right there. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay, how about that? How about we try that really quick, and then we're done for the day. Oh, all right. Yeah, maybe not great, not the best. Yeah, we're gonna have to play with that. Because you need to be able to see it. for it to be fair, right? But we will have to do that next time. All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining me for the day. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and have fun.